Yo, fight fans, welcome back to Ring Ruler, the place where we break down the most electrifying moments in boxing history, and today, we've got a banger for you. Picture this, the year is 2011, the ring is set, and two warriors are about to collide in a fight that had the world on the edge of their seats. We're talking about Rhodes, the pride of Sheffield, England, stepping into the squared circle against a young, hungry, and dangerous Canelo Alvarez from Guadalajara, Mexico. This wasn't just any fight, it was a high-stakes showdown packed with heart-pounding action, slick skills, and a knockout that left jaws on the floor. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button and join the Ring Ruler community, because we're about to unpack this epic clash in glorious HD, 60 frames per second, and trust me, you're not gonna want to blink. Let's set the stage. It's June 18, 2011, in Guadalajara, Mexico, Canelo's backyard. The atmosphere is electric, with the crowd roaring like a tidal wave, ready to see their hometown hero defend his WBC light middleweight title. Canelo, at just 20 years old, was already a phenom. With his fiery red hair, devastating power, and a record of 36 wins, no losses, and one draw, he was a force to be reckoned with. This guy was no ordinary prospect, he was a superstar in the making, carrying the hopes of a nation on his shoulders. Across the ring stood Rhodes, a 34-year-old veteran from England with a chip on his shoulder and a point to prove. Rhodes had been in the game for years, with a record of 45 wins, 4 losses, and 31 knockouts. Known for his slick movement, relentless pressure, and iron will, Rhodes wasn't here to be a stepping stone. He wanted to shock the world and take Canelo's belt back to Sheffield. As the opening bell rang, you could feel the tension. Canelo, with his trademark confidence, stalked forward, his eyes locked on Rhodes like a predator sizing up his prey. Rhodes, though, wasn't fazed. He came out sharp, using his footwork to circle the ring, popping jabs, and trying to keep the younger fighter at bay. The early rounds were a chess match, folks. Rhodes was crafty, slipping punches and landing crisp counters, showing why he'd been a top contender for so long. His experience was on full display, and the Ring Ruler fans out there know that veteran savvy can be a game changer. But Canelo? He was calm, cool, and collected, absorbing Rhodes' shots and firing back with heavy hooks to the body. Those body shots, man, they were like sledgehammers, and you could see Rhodes wincing as Canelo dug into his midsection. By round 3, the fight started to heat up. Canelo began closing the distance, cutting off the ring with that stalking style he's famous for. Rhodes was still moving well, but you could tell the pressure was building. Canelo's punches were landing with more authority, and the crowd was eating it up, chanting his name like a battle cry. Here at Ring Ruler, we love breaking down these moments where momentum shifts, and this was one of them. Rhodes was game, throwing combinations and trying to outbox Canelo, but the young Mexican was just too slick, too powerful. A vicious left hook to Rhodes' body in the 4th round made the Englishman grimace, and you knew Canelo was starting to take control. Now, let's talk about Canelo's game plan, because this is where the genius of a future legend started to shine. At just 20, he was already showing the ring IQ of a veteran. He wasn't just throwing punches for the sake of it, he was setting traps. He'd feint, draw Rhodes in, then counter with devastating precision. Rhodes, to his credit, didn't back down. He kept coming forward, landing some solid shots of his own, especially that sneaky right hand that caught Canelo a few times. But every time Rhodes seemed to gain a foothold, Canelo would answer with a combination that reminded everyone why he was the champ. The Ring Ruler breakdown. Canelo was breaking Rhodes down systematically, piece by piece, like a sculptor chipping away at stone. As we moved into the middle rounds, the pace was relentless. Rhodes was still in it, using his jab to create space and trying to frustrate Canelo with lateral movement. But Canelo's pressure was suffocating. He was like a storm closing in, and Rhodes was caught in the middle. By round 6, you could see the toll those body shots were taking. Rhodes' movement slowed just a touch, and Canelo pounced. A brutal right hand to the head rocked Rhodes, and the crowd erupted. This was the kind of moment that makes you love boxing, and here at Ring Ruler, we live for it. Rhodes showed his heart, staying on his feet and firing back, but you could tell he was in deep waters. Let's pause for a second to give props to Rhodes. This guy was 34, fighting in hostile territory against a kid 14 years younger who was already being called the future of boxing. Most fighters would have crumbled under that pressure, but Rhodes kept swinging, kept believing. That's the kind of grit that defines a true warrior, and it's why we at Ring Ruler respect the hell out of fighters like him. But Canelo. He was on another level. His combinations were crisp, his power was unreal, and his confidence was unshakable. By round 8, he was landing at will, mixing up his punches to the head and body, keeping Rhodes guessing. The Englishman was tough as nails, but you could see the writing on the wall. Now, let's get to the moment you've all been waiting for, the knockout. It came in round 12, and let me tell you, it was worth the wait. Canelo had been building to this all night, softening Rhodes up like a chef tenderizing a steak. Rhodes was still fighting hard, but his gas tank was running low. Canelo, sensing the end, turned up the heat. He backed Rhodes against the ropes with a flurry of punches, each one landing with a thud that echoed through the arena. Then, out of nowhere, Canelo unleashed a picture-perfect right hand that caught Rhodes flush on the chin. The Englishman's legs buckled, his eyes glazed over, and down he went like a house of cards in a windstorm. The crowd lost it, and the Ring Ruler team. We were screaming at our screens. The referee waved it off, and just like that, Canelo Alvarez had done it again. A 12th round knockout that cemented his status as a superstar. Rhodes stayed down for a moment, exhausted but proud, having given everything he had. The respect between these two warriors was clear as they embraced after the fight, a reminder of what makes boxing so special. Canelo raised his hands in victory, the WBC belt still around his waist, and the Guadalajara crowd showered him with love. At Ring Ruler, we couldn't stop re-watching that knockout. It's the kind of highlight that never gets old. So, what made this fight so special? For one, it was a clash of styles and generations. Rhodes brought the veteran savvy, the slick footwork, and the heart of a lion. Canelo brought the power, the precision, and the hunger of a young king ready to take over. It was a classic boxer versus puncher matchup, and Canelo's ability to adapt and dominate showed why he'd go on to become one of the greatest of all time. For Rhodes, this fight was a chance to prove he still belonged at the top, and even in defeat, he showed the world he was no pushover. That's the beauty of boxing, and it's why we at Ring Ruler are obsessed with bringing you these stories. Let's break down some key moments that defined this fight. Early on, Rhodes' jab was a thing of beauty, keeping Canelo at bay and frustrating the young champ. But Canelo's body work was the real game changer. Those punches to the midsection slowed Rhodes down, sapped his energy, and opened the door for that devastating knockout. Canelo's ring generalship, even at 20, was something special. He didn't just rely on power, he used feints, angles, and timing to outsmart a seasoned veteran. And that final right hand. It was a work of art, a perfect blend of speed and power that only a few fighters in history could deliver. If you're loving this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Ring Ruler for more epic fight analyses. We're talking classic bouts, modern slugfests, and everything in between, all in crystal clear HD and 60 FPS. Drop a comment below and let us know what you thought of this fight. Did Rhodes have a chance to pull off the upset, or was Canelo just too good? And who do you want us to cover next? Maybe a classic like Hagler vs Hearns, or a modern showdown like Fury vs Usyk? Let's get that conversation going. Before we wrap up, let's talk about what this fight meant for both men. For Canelo, it was another step toward greatness. At 20, he was already defending world titles and knocking out veterans like Rhodes. This fight showed the world he wasn't just hype, he was the real deal. For Rhodes, it was a gut check moment. He went toe-to-toe with a future legend in front of a hostile crowd and never backed down. That's the kind of legacy that lives on, and at Ring Ruler, we salute him for it. Alright, fight fans, that's it for this one. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Rhodes vs Canelo Alvarez, share this video with your fellow boxing nerds and let's keep the Ring Ruler community growing. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a new breakdown. We've got more knockouts, more drama, and more boxing history coming your way. Until next time, keep your hands up and your chin down. This is Ring Ruler, signing off.